বৰঠাকুৰ IS একাডেমি প্ৰস্তুতি আৰু অধ্যয়নৰ নিৰ্ভৰযোগ্য ঠিকনা।
Hello everyone, welcome to the Hindu analysis for 27th August 2021. Hope you are all doing well and staying safe. Let us begin with the first article. Twin blasts kill 20 outside Kabul airport. We have a little bit of updated news in this regards. As this article claims, 12 US servicemen were killed. US has announced that 10 were killed and multiple others were injured. These were the troops, American troops, who were securing the Kabul International Airport, the military side of it, facilitating evacuations of both Afghans and people of other nations, including India. They were instrumental in securing the air traffic control tower and also the runways and the parking areas where we were able to load our people and people of other nationalities, and we were able to evacuate them out of Afghanistan. Now, as a result of it, not only 10 US servicemen were killed, many were injured. Along with it, an unknown number of, the estimate is still fluctuating, so we are not going to comment on that. Many innocent civilians who were waiting and who were hoping that they could get out of Kabul through an international aid flight were killed in this attack. As far as the Taliban, they have said that they have no responsibility. They did not claim responsibility to it. The Islamic State laid claim to this attack. They came out and said that we carried out this attack and we claim responsibility for this deadly attack. Right? So this happened at a point where the people were, I hope you had seen the images coming out of Kabul airport. You had seen the density of people packed in small places. So you could imagine what would a bomb blast in that density could do, right? So this is carried out by Islamic State. The Taliban have denied their responsibility by saying that the area where these attacks happened are not under our control. The security of those areas were maintained or was under the control of Americans. If you had seen the satellite images, if you had seen the number of people in that near those gates, it is highly impossible for someone to pick out a suicide bomber. And given the situation, this again puts a lot of questions on US exit of Afghanistan. So again, this is a bit of very sad news coming out of Kabul. As far as India is concerned, there is a bit of news in the sense that the Taliban had prevented 140 minorities from escaping Afghanistan via Kabul airport. Meaning when they were traveling towards Kabul airport, they were stopped and prevented from boarding any flights, particularly the Indian one, because we sent a flight, we have been consistently carrying out evacuations from there. The flight that was supposed to bring the 140 people had to come back empty because the Taliban prevented them from boarding the flight or reaching the Kabul airport altogether. Now, as far as the situation is concerned, it is still fluid. Countries are negotiating with Taliban behind closed doors on their own. The resistance is actually gaining momentum, but without external support, without external aid, the idea of that Northern Alliance 2.2 sustaining for a long period of time, though the status quo may be maintained in the Panjshir area, but nonetheless, without external aid, they cannot gain territory from the hands of Taliban. So again, this is of all the sad news that has been coming out of Afghanistan, where people have been falling out of flights, particularly US ones, where people were being shot at by the Taliban, and the stampede, the heartbreak that is coming out of Afghanistan. This were the soldiers who were securing the airport so that not only Indians, many other countrymen, women can, including Afghans, can evacuate safely, escaping prosecution under the Taliban regime is definitely a sad event to take place. This puts the situation in Afghanistan back to square one. So the Taliban is saying that we haven't carried out this attack. Later on, immediately after the attack was carried out, the Islamic State claimed its responsibility. So remember, one of the agreements that Americans made, or one of the points in the agreement that Americans made with the Taliban was that Taliban cannot allow their soil, meaning the soil of Afghanistan, to be used by other terrorist organizations. So this is an interesting dynamic that developed in the last few hours, meaning what is America going to do next? This is a clear indication that these organizations, despite assurances from Taliban, though however surprising it might be to say that, but nonetheless, the agreement was made between Americans and the Taliban. We are seeing terror organizations carrying out attacks not only on innocent Afghan civilians but also US service members. So we have to wait and see what the Americans will do, what President Biden will do. As far as India is concerned, India has said that these kinds of attacks reinforce our stance. Whatever we have been saying for the last 20 years, for God's sake, we need to unite together to stop these terror attacks. We need to stop countries that provide cover, protection and resources and training to these terror organizations vis-a-vis Pakistan. So Islamic State, though Islamic State has been defeated by coalition forces, it still survives to a great extent via underground networks. And with the fall of Afghanistan into Taliban hands, ensured that ISIS can once again come to the open and start its reign of terror again, however they choose to, because they have a place where they can safely train and plan attacks on other countries. So the rise of Islamic State and other terror organizations in that region is a cause of worry for not only America but also for India, because we are seeing reports of Jaish-e-Mohammed calling for action in Kashmir, where we are worried that the weapons that were left behind by the Americans in haste might get transferred or transplanted into in Kashmir. So the weapons that Americans left were advanced. There were thermal night vision cameras. There were multiple other body armor that was left, most advanced level of body armor. So the fall of Afghanistan is taking place on a daily basis. So we'll have to discuss about the rise of Islamic State and other terror organizations, not only in Afghanistan, and the impact on the region, particularly in regards to India. Once we have enough information regarding this, we'll try to cover it in a special kind of a session in a video. So moving on to the next article, Indian firm to build a bridge in the Maldives. So this article or this bit of news coming out of Maldives is a bit of a good news in the sense that one of the areas where the Chinese were able to successfully challenge India in the region is the infrastructure projects, particularly the neighborhood infrastructure projects that China was able to successfully carry out. In certain cases, deny India from carrying out or given access to, particularly the Hambantota port. Now we have the Colombo port, we have the Golden Colombo port city issue. Not only that, we have when Yamin was the president of Maldives, we had certain infrastructure projects that were awarded to Indian companies but later cancelled because of Chinese influence. You had the same scenario with the airport in Sri Lanka. The Nepal is the same case. The Bhutan is also a little bit to extent. Particularly Nepal was a big. Sri Lanka and Maldives were our companies were denied access or were cancelled from participating in construction projects, infrastructure projects. Now it seems that an Indian company was awarded the largest ever infrastructure project in Maldives. The agreement was signed between the Maldivian government and an Indian private company, where the funding will be provided by India, right? The project will be funded by Indian government. It is the largest infrastructure project ever taken up in Maldives. It is a 6.7 kilometer long bridge. The project is estimated to cost around $500 million, for which 100 will be provided as grant by Indian government. 100 million will be provided by grant by Indian government, and the rest of the 400 million will be given as line of credit. In essence, India is financing this project. This is again a good step for us to integrate ourselves with our neighbors, infrastructure projects, infrastructure plans, and infrastructure policy that gives us an edge over the Chinese. So this is bigger than the project that the Chinese had built. They also built a big bridge connecting two cities in Maldives, which was completed way back in 2018. But nonetheless, this is much bigger than the Chinese project. Again, these kinds of slow steps are where regional relations kind of get better. This is certainly a welcome sign given the recent development that has been happening in regards to India's foreign policy, India's own domestic policy to a greater extent. So this project would improve connectivity between islands of Maldives. So moving on to the next article, drone rules aim to help startups and SMEs. The government of India, through its Civil Aviation Ministry, has notified the drone rules of 2021. So these set of drone rules that were notified are significant step towards creating the right conditions and the right environment for innovation in that sector, particularly because these rules that were notified were more liberalized compared to others. It is kind of a more liberalized regime for unmanned aircraft systems, that is UAS, than the previous policy that government of India adopted, right? Biggest takeaways from the drone rules 2021 notification is whatever the requirements that were needed earlier to get your approval to fly a drone have been completely done away with. They have abolished several of requirements that were required for a drone pilot to operate and purchase a drone, and the total number of forms that an individual had to fill to be able to either purchase, fly a drone has been reduced from 25 forms to 5, and the amount of fees that one has to bear in order to be able to fly a drone has also been brought down, right? Now, in order to operate a drone, you had to pay somewhere anywhere between 70 to 72 kinds of fees. Now you have to just pay 4 fee structures. That is again a welcome sign. In addition to this, they have launched a platform called Digital Sky Platform. This is kind of a single window system where one can get clearances that are required to fly their drone without any hindrance and in a legal way. Now earlier, if you wanted to purchase or buy a drone, in a sense that if you want your drone to be registered and you wanted a license to be issued for the drone, you had to get security clearance. Now with the new rules, you no longer have to have a security clearance to register your drone through Digital Sky Platform. Now, in addition to that, the Digital Sky Platform will also have an interactive map that will display zones in which you can fly the height is limited in one zone and you cannot enter your or you cannot fly your drone there. The thing that hasn't changed much is the import of drones will continue to be regulated by the Director General of Foreign Trade. That is the sole authority where they have the control over the import of drones into India. And these regulations in essence paved way for future adoption of drone technologies in carrying heavier loads and in integrating into supply logistic chains. Right, these drone regulations had kind of given go ahead for heavy payload carrying drones or craft that can be used in logistics and transportation sectors. And not only that, they will cover drone taxis if and when they are available. The other thing that has transpired in this drone rules of 2021 is there is no longer a restriction on foreign companies owning Indian drone companies, right? Earlier there was restrictions there. Now foreign companies can have some ownership in Indian drone companies. These are the few biggest takeaways from drone rules 2021. This is significant because given the recent background of drone attacks taking place on security installations or military installations in India. The biggest one that comes to mind is the Jammu attack, where the Air Force station was attacked using drones. The second thing is use of drones to transport weapons, drugs and counterfeit money into Indian border through Pakistani side. So again, given the backdrop, given the security implications, so the second aspect that we need to discuss is this drone rules do not entirely address the security implication side of it. There are a lot of unanswered questions in the sense that how the government of India intends to track or keep or monitor drones. Those are still to be notified as to what would be the process. So there are certain questions that are to be answered, and we have to wait and see what the policy will be in regards to security. Now moving on to the next article, the cleanup crew we needed. This is in regards to vultures, right? Vultures form an important component in our ecosystem. They provide an important and critical service in our ecosystem. They perform the role of scavengers in our ecosystem, right? They are important for sustaining equilibrium in our ecosystem, right? Now, in India, there are 9 species of vulture. 9 species of vulture can be found in India. Since 1990s, we are seeing a steady decline of vulture population in our country. There are 2 or 3 main and primary factors for this decline of vulture population in our country. The primary cause of vulture population or decline in vulture population in our ecosystem, particularly in India, is due to a drug called diclofenac. Right, diclofenac is an veterinary non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. The primary purpose of this drug is to ease pain and inflammation diseases or inflammatory diseases such as gout in animals. So what happened was, when an animal that has been administered with diclofenac drug dies, and these vultures consume or feed on those carcasses, they also consume this diclofenac drug that still resides in the system of the carcasses, right? In India, just 0.4 to 0.7% of animal carcasses were contaminated with diclofenac, but this small amount, less than 1% of the animals or dead carcasses which were contaminated with the diclofenac drug, was enough to decimate almost 99% of vulture populations in our country. Almost all of the 9 species in India are on endangered list, right? They are vulnerable, they are on the verge of extinction. Right, let us look at the diclofenac itself. The diclofenac is nothing but it is an anti-inflammatory drug which relieves cattle from pain, right? But it is toxic to vulture even in small doses, because when it is consumed by cattle, it causes pain relief and anti-inflammation relief, right? But when it is, if the same drug, not even directly, but consuming a carcass or a dead flesh that vultures feed on, if that is contaminated by diclofenac drug, it causes kidney failure and subsequently death in vultures. That is how that dangerous that drug was. Mind you, less than 1% of the cattle population was contaminated, and that less than 1% was enough to decimate almost 99% of vulture populations in our country. The second aspect is the belief aspect, right? There were certain myths about medicinal healing powers of vultures. For whatever reason, people tend to believe that parts of animals or horns of animals or blood of animals or organs of animals can heal somebody of some ailment. As a result of it, to harvest the body parts of vultures, because of this belief and because of the existence of that market, that belief market, many vultures were hunted. So the primary cause is the diclofenac anti-inflammatory drug. The second is the hunting habits, because of traditional beliefs or whatever mythical powers that supposed to be possessed by vultures or vultures' body parts led to them being hunted and harvesting of those parts. Again, that led to population decline. The third is destruction of their environment, destruction of their ecosystem, right? Because of their size, they tend to live on rocky surfaces, rocky features, and tall trees. So, because of quarrying activities, their homes were also destroyed, right? Vultures belong to the family of eagles, hawks, and kites, right? These are the birds, and vultures belong to that family of birds. The problem with vultures is they are very slow breeders, and as a result of it, every individual vulture becomes crucial in a bid to conserve them. Even if the population was a healthy population, then also we should be worried about vulture population, because the breeding patterns of vultures are very slow compared to any other bird. They are not cyclic. There is a lot of gap between one breeding cycle to the other. As a result of it, the population remains always kind of low. But with the activities of humans, with the destruction of their ecosystem, and with the introduction of a deadly chemical into their food supply, we not only ensured them being brought into endangered list, we kind of accelerated that process, right? Already the process was happening in the sense that their breeding patterns were slow, but nonetheless the population was healthy in the sense in the 1990s and subsequently. But later on, with the drug, with our activities, we ensured the acceleration of their decline. So what are as I said in the beginning, vultures are an important and a critical component of our ecosystem. They are the scavengers of our ecosystem, right? Just remove the vulture from the ecosystem. Whatever the dead carcasses that were earlier consumed by vultures would remain unconsumed. and as a result of it, they would end up contaminating surrounding water resources. Right, so they play a critical role in maintaining the health of an ecosystem. Wherever they live, they ensure that an healthy ecosystem is maintained. Right, that is how they carry out their living. Now, this is the current scenario. The population was healthy in the 1990s. Because of various factors, their decline accelerated to a point where they are endangered. They have to be protected under conservative efforts, conservative methods. They had to be brought under protection, and breeding programs had to be started so that and we can restore the thinning population of vultures in our ecosystem. As I said, September 4th is International Vulture Awareness Day. So what are the efforts of India in terms of vulture conservation? We have certain programs in place that are ensuring breeding and protection of vultures in wildlife, but we need some more conservative efforts in that direction so that these vultures don't become extinct in the future. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change in 2006 released a new action plan for vulture conservation, where they, along with the DCGI, that is the Drug Controller General of India, banned the veterinary use of diclofenac drug in 2006. Since then, the number of cases of use of diclofenac in veterinary use cases have died down. We no longer use that drug. We banned that drug from being used in veterinary science. This was back in 2006. Recently in 2020, the government announced a new action plan for vulture conservation for the periods of 2020 to 2025, which was announced in October of 2020, under which 5 states in India will build vulture breeding centers. There is already a vulture care center in Pinjore in Haryana, which was built in 2001, that acts as a facility for breeding and conservation of vultures in India. In India, the Jatayu Conservation Breeding Center, again in Pinjore in Haryana, is the world's largest facility where breeding programs are taking place. The conservation efforts are going on. This is inside Bir Wildlife Sanctuary in Haryana again. But these efforts are kind of stopgap kind of an arrangement. So what we need is more resources being directed towards conservation of vultures and restoration of vulture population to healthy levels, because at the end of the day, having a healthy vulture population in our wildlife and in our ecosystem ensures a balanced and a clean ecosystem. Again, in 2006 we banned the use of diclofenac in veterinary use cases. In 2020, the government announced action plan for vulture conservation for the periods of 2020 to 2025, which envisages 5 breeding centers being built in 5 different states where vultures are found. And we have a vulture care center in Haryana in Pinjore, which was established in 2001. Pinjore is also home to Jatayu Conservation Breeding Center, which is the world's largest such facility, which works on breeding program in regards to vultures and also conservation programs. So this is the vulture scenario or vulture situation in our country. The population is endangered. They are on the verge of becoming extinct. But Indian government and various other NGOs are working to bring back and restore vulture population to their old numbers. But the path is long, and what it needs right now is more resources being allocated and more priority being given to their conservation, because their healthy population means an healthy ecosystem. Thank you. Stay safe. Namaste.
বৰঠাকুৰ IS একাডেমি প্ৰস্তুতি আৰু অধ্যয়নৰ নিৰ্ভৰযোগ্য ঠিকনা।
বৰঠাকুৰ IAS Academy